Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Prop Live, your weekly prop and costume making Q&A session. I'm Bill, joined today live in the studio, is what I'm calling my office, by Thomas.
Hello.
Hey, Thomas. Thomas goes by Rawrbomb. If you look below me, that's where you can go to check out the stuff that Thomas does. Hey, welcome down. You made the commute down from Seattle.
If I made the commute, I've longtime friend. I've kind of wanted to come on the show for a long time,
Yep.
but I'm usually driving home from work right now, and so I'm finally able to come down and hang out.
Absolutely. Really, what you wanted to use my pressure pot.
I really just wanted to use Bill's pressure pot. I've been casting some little globe things, and when you're casting things that are opaque, you don't notice the bubbles. But as soon as you cast something that's a little translucent, you're like, oh, there's bubbles everywhere. I don't want that.
Yeah. So what was the piece that you're casting for? I see.
So we are casting. I just got done making. It was just featured on RPF. May's gun.
Yes.
It's her thermo something blaster from Overwatch. Here's what it looks like.
Very cool.
And if you look in here, you can see this clear globe inside there, and we are pressure casting those right now with a little hint of glitter, so they have kind of a sparkly effect.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of a cool.
With no bubbles.
With no bubbles.
Yeah, that's the key there.
Yeah, there's the gun. This is entirely 3D printed.
Mm-hmm.
This particular one is about 22 pieces, and takes about 3 days to finish one from scratch. But it's a fun build.
Pretty great. If you guys head on over to Facebook and look up Rawrbomb, you can see some behind the scenes on that and other projects like your new 3D printer that you're playing with there.
My new wonderful 3D printer that's probably burning my house down right now.
Probably. These are some of the pieces for that gun.
This gun, yeah.
Yeah. And what were those printed on?
So this was printed on a Lulzbot Mini.
That's right.
And there's a little trick I've kind of figured out. Like whenever you print things with support material, no matter how good your printer is, the support material is going to leave scars.
Right.
And if you have something that has detail on the top and bottom, you're going to lose a lot of detail. So what I do is I print the two pieces in halves and then glue them together afterwards. And all you have to do is just fix the seam, and you save time, and it's so much easier to clean up.
Very cool. Awesome. You did something else that was kind of fun. Do I have the picture? I got it. Hold on one second. I got to find this. This is what I love when someone does something goofy and someone else takes it as inspiration and does something fun with it. So I posted this picture like a week ago of Buddha Cat wearing my Mechanist helmet.
Yep.
Yeah. I threw that up on Instagram. It seems like a lot of people liked it, and like a day or two later, you made Mecha Buddha Kitty. A tiny little model of Mecha Buddha Kitty.
Yeah, I gave him a little mechanical chest piece there,
Yep.
and tweaked the ears a little bit for printing. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny, and it kind of cracked me up. I literally it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, because I stay up till way too late working on projects, and it just made me laugh, and I'm like, I want to make that. And so I modeled it, hit print, and the next day,
Mecha Buddha Kitty.
Mecha Buddha Kitty. This is why 3D printing is amazing.
Yes.
And then when it's done, you can just send the model to your friend, and they can print one.
There you go. In fact, we're printing one right now. You'll hear we're doing a really tiny one on the Form 2. So it's doing that. It'll be done in about an hour.
It'll be about half an inch tall or something like that. Take 6 hours to print.
2.5. But that's a couple cool things that you've been working on. Let's grab one of these other ones. This that people might have seen. This is Buzz Lightyear, which you've done twice.
I've done twice. The first Buzz Lightyear costume, which is the one that's on Reddit mostly, about 3 years ago, I got an email from the producers of the costume department at Cougar Town looking for a Buzz Lightyear costume. And I was like, what? Is this? First I went and asked all my friends if they were punking me, because it was such a ridiculous ask. But it ended up making it onto the show. I sold it to them and shipped it to them. And there it is. There's my old Buzz Lightyear costume on Cougar Town. It's uncomfortable. This costume was the most painful costume I've ever worn. It left bruises. It cut off nerves to my thumb because the gloves were too tight. Like, So my new one is way more comfortable, a lot easier, and you may have seen it at Emerald City Comic Con. And I'm hoping to bring it to some more cons here in the future.
Yeah, it's this guy right here.
And that's my friend's daughter dressed up as Edna Mode.
That's really great. Pretty great. So we got Dragon Con coming up. You're going to Dragon Con. Did we end up on the same flight again?
I haven't booked my flight yet.
Oh, okay. Well then, I'll let you know which flight I'm on if you want to try and join us.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to be on the same flight.
Any big plans for that? Or are you gonna? If you haven't, you probably haven't started.
I haven't started or even decided on a costume yet. But if anyone who knows me knows, that's kind of like deciding a month before a convention. That's ridiculous. But I've considered McCree or Doctor Strange. I want something I can actually talk to people while wearing, because the problem is I always make these costumes which have masks or Donald Trump wigs, and so it's kind of hard to converse with somebody when you're behind a mask or heavy makeup.
That is very true. Let's see here. We are about ready to start taking some of your guys' questions. But first, I wanted to say a couple things I've been up to. I've been chewing through some of the footage we took at San Diego Comic-Con. So if you head on over to our YouTube channel, you can see I did like a adventures at Comic-Con with me and Britt, which was really fun. Blender? Yeah. Don't worry. I'm trying to talk Thomas out of not using Blender. This was really fun. I just put this video up. Met a lot of fun people. Saw a lot of cool stuff. So if you want to get sort of like a bird's eye view of what Comic-Con was like for me and Britt, then head on over and check out that video. You'll probably want to go to this thing at some point.
Yeah, I can't. Bill needs to bring me. I'll just fit in a luggage. Yeah. It'll be really comfy.
It's not gonna happen.
We're gonna make it happen, Bill.
And then the other thing, tomorrow, apparently my flight leaves at 5:30 in the morning. Woo! I'm going to Vegas for a not a comic convention, a toy convention, of all things. So if you're in Las Vegas and you want to go to Super Toy Con, which you probably do, and come hang out with me, then that would be awesome. And that is at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. I will be there all 3 days. I'm doing a handful of panels, and I'm judging the costume contest, and I will have a booth, and I will have books. And this is my first time going to a convention in Vegas, so I'm super stoked to check it out.
Awesome.
You ever go to Las Vegas?
No.
It's actually pretty cool.
I was in the airport at Las Vegas very briefly on the way back from Mexico. I wanted to gamble, because I've never gambled in Vegas. Went up to the machines and had no coins. So I couldn't even gamble for the 45 minutes I was in Vegas.
Yeah. I gambled once at my brother's bachelor party. I was at a casino in New York. And my twin brother and I went to the roulette table. I put $20 on black. He put $20 on red. He won. I lost. I retired. Yeah. That's the only gambling I've ever done.
I think I like Rob some in his favor.
Yeah, it's fair. Let's see here. Let's pile on some questions. We got a whole bunch of questions from our wonderful prop tarts in the chat. I see you guys in there. I see Sam being all talky.
Yeah, I still have a few people bashing Blender, and you're not wrong. Blender is quirky. I just learned Blender for doing a lot of other projects, and so I'm just most familiar with it. For new people, I do recommend them just learning Fusion 360.
Yeah, or 123D Design is a great place to step into it.
Blender's not really that great for modeling things for 3D printing. It's just I'm just comfortable with it, and if I want to make something quickly at 3 o'clock in the morning, Blender.
There you go.
And so that's at some point I'm just gonna hunker down and learn Fusion and really get the hang of it, because it's just
next week
those exact measurements next week.
All right, let's start grabbing some questions here. We got a whole pile of them. The first one comes to us from Gray Skull Effects, and the question is, how do you recommend getting work out there to attract more clients and get a foot in the door working on movies or TV shows? Those are two different types of work, by the way. So if you want to work on movies or TV shows, you got to go to where the work is, which is either LA or, believe it or not, Georgia. A lot of filming stuff in Georgia.
Maybe Vancouver, BC.
Vancouver in Canada. Trying to get work in a different country presents its own challenges.
We have a friend who works on Grimm down in Portland.
That's true. Yeah. It's kind of a special case. That's
a very special case.
Yeah. You got to go where the work is. That's the easiest way. There is a mosquito. He's immortal. He's gone. There can be only one.
No, he's alive. He's flying away. That's a moral victory.
Yeah, so going to where the work is step one. That literally means uprooting yourself and moving to LA or wherever. So I don't do that kind of work. If I'm doing client work, it's for people over the internet, but I am the company. Versus going to work for a company.
We have like friends of friends, and Bill knows some like Hex Mortis that works on stuff down in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yep.
Our friend Midnight Armor does stuff in Portland. I'm sure we know people who know people. Well, you know Frank. Yep. I think he's done some stuff for movies.
And I've gone down and I've worked for Frank before, but I flew to LA. I worked in his shop in LA. So to do that, you gotta be there.
The answer is probably go down there and work for $6 an hour or free as an intern at one of those shops.
If they'll even let you.
Yeah.
As far as like attracting clients, if you're just gonna do commission work, building stuff from video games that a lot of eyes are gonna be seeing. Really, just like building up your portfolio is gonna be the way to do that, and that's what I did for years. I did actually a really good example. One of our regulars in the chat, Fearless Facade, made a mask from a new game. Let me see. Let me pull this up here. He made a mask from the game We Happy Few, I think, and then he sent it to them. And and it was featured on Major Nelson there for the Xbox One. But I do believe that he just sent it to them, and it's tricky. You shouldn't, by default, work for free. But there's a lot to be said. If I build a thing, especially like when I still had my day job, I'd build a thing. I had plenty of income, and I'd just mail it to the people, or make friends that way. Just mail stuff to them.
It costs if you're making like 100 copies of a gun, casting them, or 10 copies, sending one to Blizzard.
Yep.
The worst that happens is you're out one gun. The best that happens is they might mention it.
Right.
And some companies, you probably know more about this. Some companies like that kind of stuff. Some companies do not have a sense of humor about people making their stuff.
That's fine though. Yeah. But really, I mean, it boils down to building up your portfolio. You want to build up an impressive portfolio. And I always tell people, if I build something from Borderlands, go to the Borderlands forums and share it there. Or go to the Borderlands subreddit. Go to the places where the people who love that franchise congregate. Because they're the people who are going to get really hyped up over the thing you made. Chad is in the chat. He says he misses you, Thomas.
Hi, Chad. You should come sleep on my couch again.
Cool. That's a good question, Gray Skull Effects. Good luck on your endeavors. Just keep working on that portfolio. Kormori no Hime Cosplay? Did I pronounce that right?
Which one? I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm really bad at those types of names. Anyway, here's your question. Question for Buddha Cat. This is good. Have you ever seen the Star Wars cat toys? My roommate's cat has an Ewok and loves it. No, we haven't got those. Let's see. These are pretty great. There's a Princess Leia dog headband. These look like dog toys. Where are the cat toys? I don't know. Oh, it's a dog toy.
I'm pretty sure cat toys are just your feet at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Oh wait, cat. Here we go. Cat. And Star Wars. All right. So cat Yoda headpiece. Yeah, Buddha Cat would absolutely not put that on. There we go. A little mouse Yoda and a little Chewbacca. $4.
Oh.
Such a bargain.
With $10 shipping.
Yeah, probably. No, I haven't seen those. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, Jeff wants to know. I'm looking into making a Space Marine costume based on this design by Pilerud's Cosplay. There it is. That's pretty great. Yeah. Pretty similar to... I like that I know exactly that these bowls are the IKEA bowls because I have the same set. And I absolutely use them for cosplay way more than for making food.
Well, because a lot of those metal bowls have the tops flat, and so they're not great for shaping. Those would be a little better.
Yeah, they're really good. The really small one is good for doing like breast cups and stuff.
If you're doing a Space Marine, check out Gary Sterley.
Yeah.
He does amazing Space Marines. He's the guy who made the movable mecha Power Fist. It's 3D printed. And I actually got to play with it at DragonCon 2 years ago. And it's really impressive. Like, the good thing about Space Marine costumes is there's a lot of people making them. And so there's always going to be a good reference out there for what you're making, what materials you're making.
Yeah, we'll put a link to this in the chat, but Gary has a really good album. And did Facebook change?
Yes, they just changed everything.
Where are the pictures?
I just noticed this. I'm like, what's going on?
Why would you do this to me, Facebook?
Second or third like.
There's a full build one. Tampa Bay Comic-Con. Where's the one that's the actual build? There's the helmet right there. There's the Space Marine construction. 547 photos. Boom. All right. That is where you want to go to see how Gary did his. So check that out. The rest of the question, what's the best way to construct the shoe stilts so that's as light as possible and supports my weight? Gary has a lot in that album, a huge section on doing all of that. He also wants to know how to do like sculpted details. How do you think you would do that?
Sculpted like a
wolf head thing and some other stuff.
You can sculpt with foam.
Sure can.
He just posted a video with Holly Conrad.
Yep.
Sculpting a head of a staff out of foam.
Mm-hmm.
You can use knives and a heat gun and a soldering iron to actually sculpt stuff. I like sculpting in clay and casting, but that's really heavy. You could
use freeform air, which is a lightweight epoxy, 2-part epoxy clay. So that's a pretty good option. I'm trying to find the shoes. This 500 photos. Yeah. I do wish there was a slightly better way to navigate this. Either way, just go dive through that. Oh, there we go. So he made his own stilts out of PVC pipe and a bunch of other stuff to give himself that height. So yeah, go check that out. Go check out Gary's build.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And Brittany has linked it in the chat. Very good. Thank you, Britt.
Gary's more like, I have like 4 or 5 like links that I always send to people, and his is one of them for foam working. Like he's quick. He's like me. He uses foam and 3D printing, which is 90% of what I do now.
Yeah, it is, and it's so good. All right, thank you, Jeff, for the question. Next one is, I think this person just apabsed. I don't know if they just mashed on the keyboard or not, but the question is, I'm looking to embed a neodymium magnet in a urethane casting so it can be easily attached to a costume. You've mentioned that you've done something similar before. Can you run through the process you used? I'd like to point out that mine didn't work.
Well, mine did work.
Yeah.
I made a Death Eater costume, which I have no good pictures of yet, a couple years ago, and I made a mask. And in the forehead of the mask, there's 2 neodymium magnets, one on each side. And that way, the cloak will magnetically stick to the mask and hold in shape.
Yeah.
Hold in position. And the way I did that is because the neodymium magnets are strong, they need to be very close to each other in order to have any strength, any separation, and they're weak. So you have to use 2 magnets, one in each piece, and have as little material between them as possible. Urethane is brittle and not that strong when it's really thin. So I actually put a little tiny layer in the casting.
So you like slush cast a little bit in the mold.
Slightest bit. Then I laid a little bit of fiberglass, like thin fiberglass, and then I put the neodymium magnet inside the fiberglass, and then cast on top of that, and even more fiberglass on top of that right there. You have to kind of mess with it a little bit, and that works pretty well. It's not great, but it works pretty well. And also make sure your polarities are right, because you're not going to be able to switch them afterwards.
No, you're not. I tried to do that with a gun, Mass Effect gun, and I basically built a frame that the magnets went in. These were big. They were 3/4 inch wide, 3/4 inch thick magnets. They had a label on the thing that said, like, you can hurt yourself with these, be careful. So I had 5 of them, and I built a frame so that I could pour a little bit of resin into the mold, like you were saying, slush in a little bit so it's a really thin layer, and then I put the magnets in, and then I backfilled it with resin. Even with all those magnets and with corresponding magnets on the armor, it was probably 1/4 of an inch between the magnets and the shearing weight was just way too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do if you have a 3D printer is you could print a tiny little holder for the magnet. Because especially 3D prints flat, like even one layer is pretty strong actually.
Yeah.
If you even do 2-3 layers and you put the magnet inside there, and then you put that into the casting and cast so that the plastic is on the outside of your casting with the neodymium magnet just underneath it, those will stick together pretty well. You're going to have to toy with it a little bit. If I was going to do it, that's the way I would do it. I would actually cast those in. I would 3D print them, put the magnet in there, and put it into casting.
Yep. The major thing why mine failed, I think, was just the weight. The cast urethane gun was like 2 pounds. If I had done it out of like made just an EVA foam prop, like this gun right here is EVA foam. I built one like that, a similar one, and I put one magnet in there. And I put a magnet in my belt, and it stuck just fine. So again, it has to do with how thick it is, and especially how much it weighs. Because that thing weighs like 0.1 pounds versus like the 2 pounds.
My newest Buzz Lightyear costume was the first one I actually also used magnetic clasps that were 3D printed, and I had the same problem. If they're totally flat on each other, it's any friction this way, they'll separate. So I actually had to make the pieces so they inserted into each other, like they had to actually kind of connect into each other so that the tensile thing the shearing isn't gonna break them apart. The magnet's a whole. It was a long process. I don't know if I'd do it again. They're very particular. Yeah,
and you'd be amazed too. Just a little bit of an insert for the magnets will help an awful lot. I wonder if I look up like magnetic clasp.
They have magnetic clasps for fabric work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. These are all goofy. These things right here. These right here, these magnetic button clasps snaps. They have a magnet and there's just a slight indent.
Yep.
And that helps an awful lot.
And you could probably use these in a urethane casting if you bent the little top pieces a little bit. Those will hold into the casting. You'd have to do a lot of experimenting.
Yes, you would.
That would be a fun experiment.
I'll put that link in the notes there for the magnetic snap. Cool. All right. Thank you, A. Pabst. Let's grab the next question. Jake's Gaming wants to know, have you ever made or plan to make a Boba Fett prop? Not really. I've never made one. My brother made a Boba Fett helmet. Actually, the mold is sitting in there. I could if I want to, but it's just one of those things. I'm not that attached to the character, and people have done it to death already, so I don't really have an impulse to do it. How about you? What Star Wars character would you do?
I wouldn't do
classic Star Wars.
I don't want to cosplay someone who went out like a punk.
Yeah,
but
technically he didn't die in the Sarlacc pit.
They haven't confirmed that yet. It'd be so cool if in Rogue One, or if like a sequel to Rogue One, he comes out of the pit. I don't know. Star Wars. I love Star Wars. The problem is everything's been done. And I like doing costumes that I've never seen anybody else do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing turns me off from a costume as seeing somebody else do the exact same thing.
Yeah. If you are interested in that, though, if you go to thedentedhelmet.com, that is the forum for Boba Fett costumes. So just head on over there, and everything you want to know about Boba Fett is over there. You can also find Mandalorian... Oh, almost got it. MandalorianMercs.org. Another Mandalorian, similar to Boba Fett, Mandalorian Mercs. Is another forum and club where they handle very, very similar stuff. So there's a couple of resources for you there. We'll throw those links in the show notes. And there you go. You can have fun with that. Oh, Brittany's already got it. Thanks, Britt.
Thanks, Britt.
Let's grab the next question. That one came to us from... That was Jake's Gaming. Sorry, there's a 4 instead of an A. Jake's Gaming. Very good. Nerdy views. I need to add various hoses, wires, and tubes to finish my proton pack, but I'd like to make them detachable. Any suggestions on how to do that? I was thinking magnets, but they might not be strong enough to hold. How would you do it? You probably 3D print something, wouldn't you?
I'd 3D print something. I would 3D print something to make the hose would actually fit into and clamp. That way the magnetic clasp will actually connect together. But say it's another thing is like any weight on a hose, someone walks by and clips it at a con, it's going to detach with a magnet.
There are, if you look up like quick connect sets for hoses, so I just looked up on Amazon real quick. This is like for a garden hose, but it would totally work. This guy right here, these brass ones right here, these are, there's probably cheaper ones out there. Quick hose connect right there. The idea with this is you put it on your garden hose, and then you can quickly disconnect your garden hose. So something like that. They make those sorts of things for a variety of applications, for like air hoses, or for water hoses. In this case, what if I look up air hose disconnect? Yeah, so this is what I use for my air compressor in the shop. You can buy all these pieces separately too, and just get them from Harbor Freight really cheap. But this piece on the right is the female end. The piece right next to it is the male end that goes in there. If you don't know about that, ask your parents. But you pull on it and the thing snaps apart. So you can quickly connect it and disconnect it at your heart's content. But just go to Harbor Freight.
Yeah, those are like $1.50 at Harbor Freight.
Yeah. And you can, like I said, you can buy them all separately. So if you need like 5 different hoses to connect, you can get 5 of the female ends, 5 of the male ends, and then... and you can even get hoses that connect to those connections and then use those hoses for your costume. Or you can 3D print something.
3D printing, I don't know if you've noticed, is all of a sudden becomes the answer to almost all of your problems.
Yeah. Oh, here you go. If you need a 25 pack of those female ends, they are $26. So, stock up. Yeah, there's just a huge pile. And then there's the... Oh, here... Yeah, $37 gets you a 10 pack of these things, so... All kinds of options for you there. And again, those are just the air tubes. There's water tubes. There's all kinds of other tubes and connects you can get. I'm sure if you go to like Make Master Car, they're going to have a huge selection of those sorts of things.
That's actually given me an idea.
Yeah.
On May's gun, although this one's a display piece, there's actually a hose connector on the bottom.
Yes.
And I have a kind of a system 3D printed that's going to kind of work for the clients I have for kits of this. But I think using those hose connectors might work even better.
Mm-hmm.
That way they're quick, easy to attach. So I might even look up that link myself later.
Very good. Thank you, Nerdy Views, and good luck on your Proton Pack. All right, our Rocket Man props. This is a funny question for Rocket Man because he just recently did a face casting, and he had to shave off his beard. But he's curious how you made your beard for Stoic.
There is a reason why I haven't reworn Stoic.
Yeah.
So the Stoic beard is an amalgam of 2 different parts. It is a piece here. It's like a chin strap of hair, and I got like a netting and weaved hair into that, like you would do like a weave for like actual hair weaving. I watched a lot of tutorials. Women doing their weaves to do that same technique to make the beard, and I just started clumping it up. And when I needed to thicken the beard, I actually just added hair and then just tied it in there as much as I could. And then I glued that to my face with spirit gum, and then I took hair and then started gluing that hair individually to my face also, like they would do in a movie. I wasn't using crepe hair, I wasn't using real hair, I was using the cheapest hair I could possibly find at any hair place. The $4 plastic hair. I couldn't eat anything all day, but it looked great, and everyone was like, I had some people think it was my real beard hair, so that was kind of cool. And I had hair. I also, at the very end, I spilled the hair onto the floor. Like 10 minutes before this, I spilled hair onto the floor with spirit gum, where it remained a piece of glued spirit hair clump in my bathroom for 6 months before I finally got around to cleaning it up, which was really interesting for people that came over. There's a pile of glued hair on the floor, but
yeah,
it was a big process. If I do it again, I'm gonna try to copy. However, was it Custom Wig Company does theirs? If you haven't seen Custom Wig Company, they make really amazing beards and wigs.
Wait, what was this?
Custom Wig Company, I want to say, and they've made a few of my friends' beards for their costumes. I've seen that. They make Santa beards.
Oh.
And you want to steal what they do.
Would
yeah,
you
there's
look at
one
that?
of my friends right there.
Why, hello there.
That's
Is that Jay? Who's that? I can't remember. I know a couple of Gandalfs.
Yeah. But
that looks really great.
They make really good stuff. They're expensive, but if it's something that's like you have a costume that's going to be one of your big costumes, it's probably worth. As someone who tried to make a beard, it is probably worth spending $1,000 on one that's good because these are professionally made.
It's a terrible
human
beard.
hair wigs, and
oh, so are they custom made then?
They're custom made. This
That's
isn't cheap,
cool.
but this is the way I would do it if I was going to.
I just love that it went to a picture of Hermione.
Oh yeah, it's all Harry Potter's everywhere.
That's cool. I mean, it is really great that you can just tell them this is the character I'm doing, and store. What happens if I just go to the store? And they'll make and obviously they probably get a lot of Gandalfs. They get a lot of other stuff.
They make a lot of Santas.
Yeah, they do. Standard Santa.
But I want to figure out however they do what they do and copy it.
Yeah, there you go. So you can see the range: Santa, beard, and wig, $450 to $900. But people who do Santas and are serious about it.
But you can make your own beard using the same techniques that people do wig lacing with the tiny little needles. Look up hair venting with venting needles, and you can make your own beard using those techniques. And there are videos on YouTube of making a beard that way. And if I make a new beard, which I want to do, that's the way I'm going to do it.
Very good. But
be prepared to spend 120 hours building even a simple beard. It's a long, slow process, but you'll have it forever.
Yeah. Trano Otaku wants to know if I got the bug. No, he got away again. He is clearly immortal. But I will sword fight him and cut off his tiny head.
We're going to 3D print a tiny little sword.
And take his quickening.
Yeah.
There you go, Rocket Man props. Everything you ever want to know about beards. Good luck, buddy. You look like a child now. But you have, I believe he made a head cast, which is really cool.
Cool.
Next question comes from Distemper. Can you please make a video of you mixing and creating your latex paint and doing some testing with it? I technically did that with, when did I do that? The Dwarven sword that I did. We'll put a link to that in the chat. But I'll give you a quick rundown. I buy Poly Latex 60. It comes in a paste. I dilute it 50%, so 1-to-1 with distilled water. So it's a nice liquidy consistency. And it's white, but it dries clear. So I just mix in acrylic paint. Just a little bit of acrylic paint. So if I have this, that's yours. If I have this much of the latex, I'll just put in that much paint, just a tiny amount of paint, because it dries clear. It doesn't dilute the color. So I'll mix in acrylic paint. Good to go. You can spray or brush it however you want. Have you done any latex stuff yet?
I did it a long time ago. I made a Hulk hand like 7 years ago. It's just kind of for fun, and it was messy. I was painting with latex.
Yeah.
I just mixed a little tiny acrylic in there, and it's really cool. I want to make a muscle suit forever.
Yeah.
And that's the way I would do it. I wanted to spray latex because it's just the best way to do it. Like our friend who made the orc.
Ryan? Steve. I know more than one person that made an orc.
Steve. Yeah, both friends who made orcs, they both used latex with mixed in a little acrylic paint.
Yeah. I think people sometimes get confused if I say latex paint. I'd say tinted latex. Latex paint, like the stuff you use to paint your house, it's not what I'm talking about. It's a different stuff. Now, I have heard that LARPing folk, will use that paint. I heard someone say that somewhere at one point. I haven't confirmed that. But personally, I just use tinted latex that has been tinted with acrylic paint. And you can brush it and color your whole thing like that if you want. Or spray it. That's how I prefer to do it. And that's how the latex do. But we have a couple videos. If you want to see how I painted my helmet, which is hiding back there, with rubber cement paint, I have a video very specifically about that on the YouTube channel. We will also link to that in the show notes. But that is rubber cement paint. And Brittany in the chat pointed towards the foam sword with the latex. Thank you for the question, Distemper. Boy, that printer is just cruising along now.
It is cruising.
Yeah, if you look over there, you can see the laser firing. Oh, it'll go up and down again, and you can see the laser firing. I think it's a Blu-ray laser. It's pretty cool.
Ooh, you could play a movie in that.
Yeah. Quartz Jester has a question. Jester's dead. As my first project, I'd like to make a Titan from Destiny. Seeing as you already made a set of Titan armor, technically 2. I made 2 of them. Do you have any tips for me? Also, would it be possible to purchase the patterns you use for the helmet? I don't have the patterns. They're gone. I probably threw them away at some point. So that's a negative. But that's a great opportunity for you to learn how to make a template yourself, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So where should people go to learn how to make a foam helmet?
Well, I have a friend who sells tutorials, books on how to work with foam to make helmets, make armor, and his name is his name is this guy right here. If you don't have the book, it's every single technique he's learned and learned from other people how to build foam stuff. Or, as we're typing right now, Evil Ted is a great place to start also.
Yes, it is.
Takes you through step by step how to build everything.
And Ted specifically has a video series on doing foam helmets, making a pattern yourself, building it from scratch. And the great thing about Ted's videos is they show you the technique, the underlying it's not just here's a pattern for the helmet. It's the technique from start to finish on how to build a helmet. So if you learn how to do that, you can make any helmet, which is much better than just learning how to make that one helmet. So we'll link to that. Definitely go check out that video series. That'll get you started. But as far as specific tips for making a Titan costume, it's just like any other costume. Give yourself about twice as long as you think you need to make it.
Yeah, I heard a great adage once that an unplanned project takes 3 times longer than expected.
Yeah.
A well-planned project just takes twice as long.
Yeah, it only takes twice as long.
Right. Yeah. Don't be afraid to throw it out if it's not working. Helmets are tricky. If it's too small, toss it aside, build it again.
Yeah. I mean, technically I built that Mechanist helmet twice. And I plan to usually make some of the more complicated pieces at least twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't get it right on the first try, that's fine. But good luck on your Titan costume. There is I believe it's called the Vanguard on Facebook. There's a Facebook group just for Destiny costumes. So check that out as well. See how other people are doing their thing. Thank you, Quartz Jester. Next question comes from our buddy Kevin, whom I hope to see at Dragon Con. Always a good buddy to run into at Dragon Con. He's looking to emulate a Hamon line on a prop sword. And traditionally consists of varying specularities brought on by applying clay to the blade when tempering. My first inclination prior to any testing is to just use a wavy stencil with an airbrush, but I was curious if you had any other potential suggestions. So this is like the edge of a Japanese sword. It has that wavy line.
Yeah. Hi, Eric.
Oh, is Eric in the chat? Hey, there's Eric. I believe today is Eric's birthday too.
Happy birthday.
Everyone in the chat, give Core Geek Net a little happy birthday. He is 29 years old.
29 years old.
This is really good example. So that's the
cool.
effect that Kevin's going for. I would definitely airbrush that, but to mask it, I would use a masking fluid like so spray down your metallic finish, your base finish, and then mask that line. And what's funny is when they do that, they use clay.
Yeah.
Do something similar with like mustard or latex or some other masking fluid.
Jelly.
Toothpaste or jelly or something.
I like jelly because I hate the smell of mustard. Mustard can discolor things a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But some jelly you have in your fridge works great and it wipes off really easily.
Yeah.
Just don't eat it afterwards.
But the thing with this, I would do lots of tests on a separate piece because there's that really bright line really close to the edge of the mask line. So you want to go in with an airbrush and just go really close and do a light line across that to get that effect, and then do other gradients either on top or below that to kind of go from the Hamon line to the blade's edge.
You can also mask it twice. You paint on like a white base coat on top of everything, and then you mask it off, and then you paint the black line in there. And so you can do multiple layers of masking on the stuff.
Yes, you can.
It'd be a really cool effect, though.
That would be cool. I'm excited. Hopefully that's something you're doing for Dragon Con, and then I can see it at Dragon Con, which would be great. Fantastic. I love seeing stuff like that because that means that the prop tarts are challenging themselves. Yeah. Like that's some next level finishing techniques right there, and I'm excited to see it work out. Ooh, this is a good one. Corium 9 says, would you and Rob ever try building a Battlebot? And Rob's my twin brother.
Yep.
And he is a science teacher, and he actually is the coach for his school's robotics team. So Rob's into that stuff. Brittany is the one who wants to build a Battlebot. Have you watched any of the new season?
No.
What? Get on my level. Oh my god. After this, we're going to go watch BattleBots. Did you watch the last season?
I have never watched the
Come
show.
on! You're killing me.
It seems like it's like people making robots that beat each other up is everything I wanted in my life.
It really is.
I've just never watched it.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll fix that. But yeah, that's something, like, I've been getting into the RC car thing like crazy. You can see my little Mad Max car right there. And then the next logical step is BattleBot, I think. Yeah. All right. So I've been watching BattleBots a lot. So I have a pretty good idea, like, functionally what I would build. But without having watched it, like, what kind of weapon do you think you would want to put on it?
From what little I've watched, like it's like a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Even in costuming, is the simpler solution is always the better one. You can over-engineer things. Yeah. You can make things too complicated. You get so caught up on these details that you forget you lose structural integrity and strength. I would just make a little spinning little Roomba. It'd be a death Roomba. It'd also clean floors, but it could attack intruders' ankles. Mm-hmm. That's what I would make.
Very good.
Or flamethrowers.
I do like that. It's tricky. Making a flamethrower effective is very, very tricky. When you watch the new seasons, you will see. But you're right. The ones that are, I would say, durability is number one. And a weapon that will not cause damage to your bot. Yep. That's tricky. A lot of really high damage bots, when they strike something else, fall apart. But being able to drive your bot well, that trumps everything. Yeah. Like, you can tell the guys who are, like, really good drivers.
You could also make one with just a speaker on it, and it would just play people talking about politics.
Yeah.
And then the other person would just leave, and you win by default, and it worked great. It's worked on my Facebook page.
Or mine would play the Kirk versus Spock fight music.
Yeah. Or he's fighting.
Thank you, Corium9, for letting us take that departure. Matt, who's in the chat, another Seattle local.
Who's also made you've made a How to Train Your Dragon costume.
Yes,
also.
A very, very good one.
I think we met briefly.
Yeah. His question is, when you use aluminum foil tape for blades, how do you hide or protect the edges? And I know what you mean, too, because it usually comes in like a 2 or 3 inch wide strip. So if that's not wide enough to cover the piece that you're working on, you've got to butt 2 pieces up next to it, and you're going to have a seam there. You just have to live with the seam. I don't think you can fill it in any way.
If you have something really wide, if you have like a little groove in your model, you can actually hide the seam in the groove.
And you may, if you know you're going to finish your prop that way, you may add a seam there on purpose, even if it's not accurate or in the original design, just so that you know that you can fall back on that.
I do that in 3D printing. I'll try to, if I have something I know is going to have a seam for just printing size of 2 smaller pieces, I'll try to make an artificial seam in there so I can glue them together without having to absolutely finish it a lot.
I'm trying to see if there is wider. This looks pretty wide.
This aluminum tape stuff is kind of good for I would call like a 6-foot costume. Mm-hmm. It looks fantastic from 6 feet away. If you get really close, you'll always be able to tell it's that.
This stuff here, if you look on Amazon, acrylic aluminum foil adhesive, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it is. It does say it is 3 1/4 inch wide. So I know it is possible to get it in wider quantities or wider things. So just look around. They probably won't have that at your local home center. Copper conductive adhesive tape. Oh, a roll of that's only $100 because it's freaking copper, man.
You could probably try to do an experiment of make the seam between the 2 pieces of tape look like that previous commenter's question where it has the kind of interesting...
The Hamon line, yeah.
That line.
That would be cool.
You could probably cut it with an X-Acto knife to get that kind of same line, and then paint up to that edge and get that kind of effect.
Oh, look at this. Experiment with. Look at this. Here's the mother load. True something. Heat shield resistant aluminum foil tape. 6 inches by 50 yards. $40, but there you go. 6 inch wide aluminum tape. Just get some of that and it'll cover everything. You can cover your car. Oh, and Jake in the chat says that they sell wider stuff at AutoZone. That's good to know. Thanks, Jake.
AutoZone's got some really cool paints too. This metallic-y paint for right here is car paint from AutoZone, and it dries so well, and I actually kind of polish this a little bit.
It's usually like the touch-up paint.
Yeah.
In fact, Rob, my brother's Iron Man armor, the red is a specific like Chevy brand, so he had to go to multiple stores and buy out all of their because they're like tiny cans of paint. Very cool. All right, there you go. There's everything you ever wanted to know about aluminum foil tape. I'll just dump this link in the chat. That's a good one right there. In fact, I'm probably gonna order some myself.
That's the kind of thing I buy. I use 3 feet of, and it sits on my shelf for 6 years.
Yeah.
Then I use a little bit more. Then I buy another one, which is usually ends up happening.
All right. Good question. Good question, Matt. Next one comes from Sylvan. My wife is looking to get into foam armor smithing. Well, you're in the right place. She wanted to get some beginner tips on making female combat armor. And specifically points to the armor pattern that Svetlana made, which is pretty awesome. But if you want something for foam, Ted Smith, Evil Ted Smith, who is, I think he might be in the chat, at eviltedsmith.com, he sells patterns too for foam specifically. So if you head on over there and go to the shop, you can see female armor pattern for $6. That's an easy sale right there.
And he's got a YouTube that shows you how to not only use this pattern and actually take this from that to that.
Yeah. So Evil, again, we'll put that in the old chat there. Boop. We do have Brittany posted a Foamsmith link in the chat there. We have a whole bunch of beginner like starter stuff on foam armor making, as well as our books, but plenty of like free materials and videos that you can check out. So there you go. Just go get Ted's pattern, and you can. It's a good base level pattern. You can modify it to your heart's content and finish it however you need. Yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you, Sylvan. Next one comes from Mayday. Next year seems to be the year of group cosplays, but for me and my group of friends, I've already got plans for most of the days of the con that they want to dress up for. Would you have any advice to help them move on without me? I don't know. You asking me to help you dump your friends?
Well, they have to understand it's not them, it's you. You just want to see other costumes. And I know it's tough. You guys have been together for a long time, and you'd like to see where it goes, but there's just more costumes out there for them, and you need to focus on you. You need to make you a priority in your life and not worry about what other people think. And you met a costume you like better on the internet, and you might...
The main thing, I think, if you're doing a group costume, and you're not going to be around that group like the whole time, is you got to pick a costume or groups that work well when you're separate. So a good example, if you have a group of people doing Avengers costumes, right? You guys all get together, it's awesome because you got Iron Man, you got Thor, you got Hawkeye, you got Black Widow. You're all hanging out, great. But if Black Widow's by herself, people are like, sweet, it's Black Widow. Yeah. Like an ensemble group where they're also good separately, then that's good.
And if your dress is Coulson all by yourself, we're gonna ask you where the bathroom is, or if they can help if you work there. Bill and I, our first 2 or 3 costumes, I think, were a group costume. Long time ago. Me and Brittany, I think my first real Comic-Con, we did General Kale and Bath Morta get together. Yep. And we both kind of were working on them independently and ended up building them and did it was a lot of fun.
Those, group costumes are super duper fun. There are some, I would say, with like some anime costumes, right? Unless you're like super into the anime, the person by themselves is very difficult to recognize what character it is. But when you have that group together, like Brittany and some of our friends did. Oh, I have a good example. I did the Fooly Cooly characters, where I was the dude just with the eyebrows and the suit. And so by myself, I was just the dude wearing a suit with felt glued to his forehead. Yeah. But when we were in the group together, people got it. I just kind of like lived with the fact that, if I'm not with them, then no one's going to know who I am. So I just made sure I hung out with them most of the day, and I also just kind of didn't care if I was by myself. So there you go.
That's a picture.
How did up your friends in 3 easy steps? All right, thank you, Mayday. Braxton wants to know, I am foamsmithing a costume for Salt Lake Comic Con, which is the same weekend as Dragon Con. Seems weird. How long does it usually take you to make a costume from start to finish? Considering at this time I have 25-ish days, did I start too late? Well, not if you're Thomas. Because he hasn't started his costume either.
Nope.
It depends on the costume, how complex it is. I would say starting a costume from scratch for Dragon Con right now for anyone is going to be challenging.
Yeah.
Personally, like, this is my day job. I have all day, which means 16 hours a day to work on a costume. So I can knock something out in a week if I have to. But that is an edge case. Like, that is not most people's situation.
To do a full foam armor for me is between 30 and 60 hours. I did my Hello Kitty armor in about 30 hours, and that was a really quick build. I did, I think, my Sentinel was pretty quick. Yeah, this was that was a fast build.
Yeah, so I would like to point out that like, your arms are bare.
Yeah.
Your upper arms are bare. Your thighs are clothing.
Yep.
So it was mostly the boots
and the gun
chest,
is just repainted.
And the gun is repainted, right? So if you're just starting now, pick a costume like that or modify a costume so that it can be done in a short amount of time. That's kind of your wheelhouse.
And I would work on, if you're gonna do like something really fast as a speed build all your pieces like don't do any detail at first. Just build the big shapes of the parts, make sure everything fits together. The hardest part for costumes for me is getting everything to fit correctly. Like, so many people build these costumes, they get to the convention and they can't wear it because it's uncomfortable. Yeah. I've been there. And you make sure everything fits and works, and once that works, then you can go back and do the detail layer, and then you can get more and more detailed over time. But if you get to the convention, you'll at least have a costume you can wear, even if you haven't finished every single detail. I don't think I've ever finished a costume.
No, no movie is ever completed. What is it? They're not released, they escape or something like that.
Like no art is finished, it's just abandoned.
It's just abandoned, yeah. My cat get me there? What's going on? James, thank you, Braxton. Last question. James wants to know, is there a trick to sculpting fake muscles into a foam arm? I think the trick is studying anatomy and practicing a lot. It's probably what it boils down to. You mentioned Steve Smith's.
Yep.
I'll go find that picture.
This has been on my list of things I want to do for a long time, is to build a giant muscle suit. I want to make a Roadhog costume, but I want it to actually have the dimensions of Roadhog. And for that, I have to make a huge fat suit or just keep eating like I do. But I want to make a big fat suit with big arms. I tried it with my Stoic costume, and I just ran out of time. It takes a long time to build it. But our friend Stephen K. Smith built a really impressive muscle suit pretty quickly, too. And copying and stealing his techniques are really awesome. Not
all of the Facebook pages have changed yet.
I think they're rolling it out slowly.
This is confounding. So this is here we go. This is the orc suit. You can kind of see the body underneath there. But if we go back in time a little bit further.
Orcs.
Oh, he probably has an album with this. Crap, I went too far.
Yeah, just getting your anatomy right, like looking at actual sculpts or looking at 3D models. If you have like a toy with a realistic musculature, that's really helpful. To actually have a 3D object in front of you can rotate. When I built my Zod armor, I had a statue of Zod I used as my reference. It's so useful to like turn it around.
Cool. Oh, it's Kiwi in the chat is putting out the Stan Winston School recently put out a few videos on muscle suits. You have to pay for the full thing though. That's fine. They're worth it. The Stan Winston videos are amazing. So if you like, that's the sort of thing. If you're gonna make a muscle suit, a good muscle suit, it's worth the like $40 or $60 for that video. Yeah. Absolutely worth it.
You're gonna spend more money on foam.
Yeah, because you're gonna throw a lot away. There you go, James. Good luck with your muscle suit. And that's it those are the questions. Thank you guys so much. Once again, bringing the heat, bringing the good stuff. Thank you, Prop Tarts, for that. Thomas.
Hi.
Where should people go to see you?
The best place for me is my Facebook page right now.
All right.
Which is Facebook.com/Rawrbomb.
There you go. You can go look at his new toy.
My website's also rawrbomb.com, but it is still being built and rebuilt right now, so it's kind of ugly right now.
Okay.
But eventually it'll be a little better. My Facebook, I update it more often. It's a lot quicker.
Cool. And you guys will want to head on over there because apparently he's going to build a McCree costume in the next 25 days.
Yeah. I got some commissions to get out of the way first, and then I'm going to start working on it. I'm going to make the American McCree.
Very good. Big Earl.
Which I kind of wonder if they were making a joke about that. So if you might see me walking around in chaps at DragonCon.
That'll be great.
Which will be really comfortable in 95-degree weather.
Very good. All right. Thanks again so much for hanging out, everyone. That's it for today. But we will be back again next week for another exciting edition of Prop Live with your questions and our answers. So we'll see you all next week.
Cool. Thanks.
Bye. Happy birthday, Eric.